sometimes getting superpowers isn't all it's cracked up to be, but there's plenty of excitement coming on The Gifted this fall on Fox. Welcome, everyone. Thank you so much for coming by IGN Live.
Thanks for having us.
Nice to see you.
Thank you for having us.
Now, I mean, Fox is really getting into TV with X-Men. You know, we have Legion over there behind us. We have The Gifted coming. This is a new spin on an X-Men mutant story. Set it up for people who don't know too much about the show. What is The Gifted doing within this universe that we all know pretty well?
Ladies and gentlemen, Amy Acker.
Well, we're kind of taking a different spin on it. It's about a family. So we've got a little family drama element of it, and a family that comes together for survival against a society where mutants aren't accepted. And we go on the run and find a underground underground mutant family, I guess. And this guy chases us and is mean and causes trouble.
Yeah, well, I was actually going to say the show really focuses on a Sentinel Services agent named Jace Turner. He's incredibly...
We can't find the guy that we want there yet, so at the moment he's filling that spot.
I'm very curious to see, you know, how you guys play with sort of the X-Men universe we know, but subvert expectations. I'm curious, did you guys have to go to the comics and learn a bit of background about it, or did they say, come in fresh, we're doing our own spin on things?
They, you know, at first it was sort of clear to us that it was a very different world, that we weren't part of the, well, that we're obviously part of the X-Men universe, but that we weren't actually part of the X-Men storyline. Mm-hmm. But as we've sort of navigated it, we've realized that you know, there are certain parallels. The X-Men don't exist anymore. It's not they don't exist, they're just not where we are.
Right.
But lately there's been a few references, and so I think it's just that we're able to mention them, and I think it's good because it creates shorthand for the audience, for what they will know coming into it about the mutant gene and certain aspects of the story. It's not, you know, we'll describe it as well, because so that new people coming to it will. It's a good crossover, isn't it, of both stories.
It's like how in the comic books, you know, there's several streams of storylines within the X-Men universe. So ours is just one of those streams.
We also had Bryan Singer directing the pilot, so we've been surrounded by people who know a lot about X-Men, and they've been able to make sense.
Also, Marvel made it available to us, the entire Marvel comic book canon.
And you're like, oh God, you know, I'm just gonna have to do a lot of research.
Which is an unbelievable, like, it's almost as if the iPad was made for comic books.
I read all of them. You didn't read all of them?
Yeah.
I read all of them.
I did it backwards.
Growing up, or
just
over
the weekend.
I did it backwards.
Yeah.
I'm curious, I mean, obviously getting to do a Marvel TV show is a huge draw, but why were you all really intrigued by this project? Why did you want to go back to genre TV for most of you guys as well?
For my part, it was great for me because obviously having played a superhuman sort of entity for 7 years, when I got sent this, it was different because I'm playing an ordinary human in an extraordinary world, and you know, in that way, the audience sort of see the world. You know, Jace is a human character almost, and Amy, my wife, is obviously human. So the audience get to see, to experience the world through our eyes. We're the sort of prism through which the story is told of this kind of fantastical world.
I think that's that, and also just genre television in general is always something you want to do because tomorrow we could both be mutants. You know, it can go anywhere, and it's always fun as an actor to get to see, hopefully, in a television series that runs for years and years, where your character's journey goes.
And it's, I mean, and it's fun. It's fun. You know what I mean? It's the kind of thing that I used to run around pretending to do when I was a little kid, and now I'm doing it for a living. So it's like I'm very, very happy to be a part of this show.
I think actually, to pick up on what Coby said, it's what I love about the story and what I love about the script and the way that they've created this thing is that there is this human element, there is the superhero element, there is the running around, there's the underground thing, there's fantastic effects. It's quite funny. Our writer Matt is a very funny man, he's very dry.
Yeah, Burn Notice.
So there's a nice kind of laconic
really
sort of, he was obviously in Burn Notice, and there's a nice sort of laconic comic element to some of the writing, you know.
Absolutely.
I'm curious, what has sort of surprised you the most now that you're a bit into filming the series that you didn't necessarily expect going in?
We're actually just about to start the second episode on Monday, so
it's been a little
we know
bit,
about
yeah.
as much as you guys do.
What are you excited to really explore then going forward?
That's kind of hard to answer because the options are endless. You know, when you're in a world where anything can happen, you know, people have all these crazy powers and stuff. There's really no, excuse me, there's no limit to what can happen.
Also, you know, something that Matt said yesterday that I really liked when we were on our panel was, and Derek was talking about as well, is the idea that the powers change and the powers mutate, and so we're trying to do things that you might not have necessarily seen before, so that even though we've seen many mutant stories and many mutant powers, that we're sort of exploring the powers in a different way. What could they do? What could they be? And how would they change? Like, as you get better and better at using it, how can you sort of filtrate it to make it work for a specific thing? So I think we're trying to play with the conventions. And the other thing as well is I just saw an amazing set. You've seen that big set yet?
No.
I mean, the set's up.
Tell us about it. Describe it in detail. No,
I'm not allowed.
Yeah.
I cannot wait to see this show. I love the X-Men universe, and it's so interesting that you can take so many different approaches to it. I can't wait to see what you guys come up with The Gifted. Thank you so much for coming by IGN Live. We have a lot more coming up next, so stay tuned.
Thanks, Terry.